What's up, guys? It's James with This Week in Airsoft. And you guys are probably wondering, where the hell has the podcast been? Well, it's back. The last podcast was on November 30th, and now we're back with another one. This one's going to be video and also audio at the same time on the same day. So
because we're that good.
There we go. And the audio guys, audio guys don't have to wait. So let me introduce who we got with us. I'm, as always, or not as always, but a rare treat. We have Dylan, okay,
Yep.
our number one guy in the field, and our staff videographer, if we want to call him that. And then
Sure,
the man with the plan who's he's been on the show a couple times before. Merlin, see, I'm going to do it. Brian from Merlin's Blogspot. Okay?
You got it. What's
there
up,
we
guys?
go.
How you doing?
Yeah, and so if you guys don't know Brian, he's got a great podcast, not a podcast, a blog. He's an excellent writer. He goes to games, does video reviews, all kinds of stuff, and he's going to talk to us today about Operation Viper Strike, a RAPTAC event, which I think is really exciting because RAPTAC is coming up and they're a sleeper, and I'm glad that they're getting like big name guys to go out to their events and check them out because they definitely deserve that.
Yeah, and they've been around. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah,
but,
they have.
Yeah, they've been around for a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I had a blog. I'm trying to get that back up. But
right, but you got you got the YouTube, and the blog is coming back. So there's gonna be plenty
absolutely.
And you'll be talking about this on your own and doing all kind of other stuff too. So, guys, we're gonna have all of Merlin's stuff for you to check out. All the links and everything, and obviously we'll be reposting his stuff on our page because he's a good friend and fan of the show, and I'm a fan of what he does. And we got to take care of our own around here on This Week in Airsoft. So,
absolutely.
All right, so let's jump into the news real quick. All right, so some of the top things I saw on Thumpy today. Because that's where we get our news from. If you guys aren't on Thumpy's site, you're slipping. Go to Thumpy's Scoop It page. It's awesome. All right. Okay, so first things first. Thumpy has he's doing video now. Thumper on the Bumper. Definitely go check it out. It's probably going to be little short news segments, stuff that he's getting from his Scoop It page, so that's pretty exciting. We'll see how that works out for him, and we definitely want to support that, and we'll be pushing it out when it comes out. There's a good gun safety video from the NSSF. All right, and I would challenge somebody to make something like this for Airsoft, or to take something like this and make something that includes Airsoft, because I think you can't talk about kids and guns and not talk about Airsoft, and that's what this video doesn't do. But it's a good video, and if you have kids, and you don't know how to teach your kids about guns, I mean, obviously Airsofters probably don't have that problem, but if you're having that issue, or people are having that issue, show them this video. It's a good video, and it doesn't beat you in the head with pro-gun propaganda if that's what you're afraid of, or you're like, I don't want people to think I'm a gun nut. It's not like that. It's like the kind of video you'd watch telling your kids about sex or, cigarettes or something like that. You know what I mean? So the other thing here, I think there's probably going to be people are going to have to take sides on it a little bit. There's a fake gun bill in Omaha, Nebraska, that's going to make using airsoft guns in a crime a Class 3 felony, and they're trying to get this bill passed because cops are shooting criminals with airsoft guns. I think it's a great bill. I don't have a problem with it. If they're shooting them, I don't have a problem with it. I feel like if you're committing a crime, then you take the law into your what happens.
Yeah, and I want to point out, Ohio actually came up with something a couple weeks ago, and it's also labeled the fake gun bill.
Right.
So not to be confused with that, Ohio's fake gun bill is just
different.
Completely different, completely crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone here would agree with that because it's just to hold or possess an airsoft replica would be considered a crime.
Right.
The Nebraska is if you're using a replica in the commission of a crime. So basically, you're trying to pass it off as a real firearm. Mm-hmm. I get where law enforcement's coming from. I'm pretty sure you can walk down to your local store and buy a pink AR-15 Hello Kitty rifle. So I get it. Some people might argue, just to argue the other side of this coin is it's a small step toward the bigger problem, which is, maybe the next step is Ohio. Let's just ban airsoft guns completely. And I don't agree with that, obviously. I mean, I'm in this industry, but we're punishing everybody for the crimes of a few, and it's like, hey, let's just not let's not do Polar Star at an event anymore because 1-2 people really screwed it up for people. What about all the other guys that run Polar Star and they do it well and they don't bend the rules? Really the firearm is just the symptom of the bigger problem. When you get a cold, you treat the cold. All right. A symptom of a cold is a cough. Taking a bunch of cough drops just solves the problem for a second, and then the cough is going to come back, and it's going to continue and continue until you solve the bigger problem, which is the cold. And I think the bigger problem is a national theme of crime and the bigger issues. The whole gun control thing and the mental health issue. I mean, we as airsofters need to do everything that we can to differentiate our hobby from the national topic of, Amendment 2 and mental health and all that.
Right. And
if we're not putting our guns in bags, we're not taking them to school, we're not using them for Halloween costumes, that's what we could do. That's our part.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think that's the, and I did not see the parallel between Ohio and Omaha until I said it and you pointed it out.
Gosh dang it, James.
Right?
Yeah, I definitely don't support the bill in Ohio. But the bill in Ohio is so heavy-handed and it's so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's some critical errors that with that bill in Ohio as far as its ability to get passed. Because they've included some things. I think they've included paintball guns in there and stuff like that. So at least from the first version I read.
Did they include BB guns?
Yeah, they did. Not
Ohio,
paintball guns. Yeah, not paintball guns. They included pellet guns.
Yeah.
That's
anything that looked realistic, I believe.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to look over the law, but when you sent me that video clip, James,
Yeah.
I thought that's what you were sending me. When I looked at it, I'm like, ooh, this is different.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but no, I'm glad you brought it up because I did want to mention what's going on in Ohio right now. And we're working. I'm working to get someone from Ohio on the show. And we'll see how that comes out. And I haven't had any luck so far. No one's replied to my email. But, that's what happens when you're This Week in Airsoft. You got to work twice as hard. But, I mean, as far as Ohio is concerned, yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you look at the individual cases, you look at Tamir Rice, you look at the guy who was shot in Walmart. I mean, you look at those individual cases and you can see that there's other things going on. It wasn't just a matter of like, oh, the airsoft gun, got this kid killed. No, it's bad parenting.
He pointed it at an officer.
Yeah, bad parenting, poor common sense. People have preconceived notions about guns and people with guns and everything else. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here. And I mean, this is, I would be remiss to say that, as a, and I don't want to bring this into the airsoft conversation, but as a black guy with everything that's going on in the world with guns and, everything else, I haven't talked about that because I'm pretty much like as pro-gun as the next guy and pro-cops, and my dad was a cop, so, I can look at stuff and say, well, that was just stupid and you deserve to get shot,
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I think as a people, we kind of have to look at every possible situation and say, okay, well, I don't know what and I can't stand in a cop's shoes, but I feel like, sometimes the reactions are a little heavy-handed. Sometimes, not all the time.
I agree. There's always going to be a bad apple.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And I don't want to even go so far as to say a bad apple. I mean, we, and Merlin, you are in the you're in that world, so you have a better understanding of it than I do, and than Dylan would. But one thing we have to remember: a cop is always ramped up. Because it's life or death. We don't see that because for us, we're going to the mall. But for a police officer, it's life or death. So, if you're walking around with a gun, and I've told you guys this so many times. You're walking around with a gun, and the cop's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
you know,
it's not the cop's job. He shouldn't have to determine whether that's a real gun or an airsoft gun. He sees a gun and he's like, "Crap, what should I do?"
You can't put him in that situation. And the thing is, I mean, I feel like, as much as, well, I'm not going to get into that, but I feel like we as the airsoft community, we failed, Tamir Rice. We failed that guy who got shot in the Walmart, okay? Because that gun shouldn't be in Walmart in the first place. All right.
If there was more awareness about what you should do about this, like with your airsoft guns and everything, like this stuff, not as much would happen with it.
Well,
okay, go.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, we have to do more. We have to work fucking 3 times, 4 times as hard. We've got to do more because that's why these kids are getting shot. And yeah, it's stupidity as far as like bad parenting, stupid kids, poor choices, all this kind of stuff. But
I don't know, for those kids that got shot, like with the airsoft guns. I don't know. I don't think we know if they were actually airsoft players or just had possession of an airsoft gun.
They never
laying
are.
around. Yeah,
they never
so
are. That's the thing.
So it's mainly gun. I think it's just gun safety.
Yeah,
that really it goes all back to, because my dad always told me, treat it like a loaded weapon, no matter what. Like even airsoft gun, toy gun, whatever, it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, and actually, that you made a very valid point. That's something that they talk about in that video, in this NSF video that I alluded to earlier. Is they show various kids different opinions on guns, and some kids are like, I'm not allowed to talk about guns, and other kids are like, yeah, I go shooting with my dad. And you have a video on your Facebook page, or not a video, a picture on your Facebook page, Dylan, of you and your dad going on. You're like, oh, we went on a turkey shoot or something like that in Texas.
Yeah, I've been hunting all my life.
Yeah, so for you, the experience is like, yeah, my dad told me treat it like a loaded weapon, and then you got kids like, I can tell you up here, nobody owns guns. Okay, nobody, like when you go to a shooting range, it's super uptight and everyone is like very like, oh, what's a gun? You see people outside giving the shooting range a dirty look because they can hear the shooting outside. I mean, it's freaking welcome to Maryland, dude. And Ohio's got to be the same way.
I disagree with you a little.
Yeah, good.
As far as us failing these kids that are getting shot, I don't necessarily think that airsoft as a community, I think America in general might have failed these kids. Right. I think where we have failed, and especially as media people, is maybe educating the retailers. Okay. Yes, airsoft retailers, Stampede Airsoft in general, specifically I should say, they mentor anyone that's under the age of 18. The kid comes in, they try to bring in the parents, and they just educate the kid before that kid walks out. That kid does not walk out thinking that what he's buying is a toy.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure. Well, I know for a fact if there's a law in the state of Florida that says you can't sell to somebody under 18, they do not do it. Right. But I think where we fail, and maybe the industry as a whole fails, is these other retailers, like you said, the Walmarts.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's
I know that. I know that's what you meant. But to point out that we need to educate Walmart. We need to educate, because there's only so much we can do to educate people.
Right.
I mean, look at what we do. This is educating the community as it is. And you can only post a video, and if it only gets 100 views, then there's only so much you can push. But I think as an industry, is when we go to SHOT Shows and we go to conventions and stuff like that, that's where we can do the most work with educating those who sell these replicas. And let's face it, they're not toys.
Right? No, they're not. They're not.
They're tools.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I don't think. The Tamir Rices of the world, and I can't think of the other guy's name, but well, we know the other guy bought his. He was in Walmart with a gun, but I don't think Tamir Rice bought his gun at Ohio Airsoft or something like that. The local airsoft store. I just don't think he did. I feel like, now, of course, there's going to be bad apples. There's going to be guys who are going to be like, well, we don't care about the rules. We don't care about whatever. We're going to sell a 12-year-old kid an airsoft gun in our store, even though we know this could destroy our business as a whole in the state of Ohio. There's going to be those guys because they don't care. But I don't think that is the norm. I think that's maybe like I think most people who run a store, they know that their business can live or die based on a poor choice. So
Absolutely.
I feel like this is like, those kids who are they're getting the gun, doing whatever, their parents are buying it for them at Walmart. Their parents don't know to go to an airsoft store. I mean, I can't think of the last time I went into a retail store and bought an airsoft gun unless it was the local East Coast airsoft by our house. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. We could go on and on talking about this, and I know we beat this dead horse about safety a million times, and all 78 of our listeners listen to it, but something we have to do something, as far as like, if it's educating Walmart or producing a video that Walmart can play in the gun aisle or something.
Or educating these lawmakers.
Yeah, or educating the lawmakers. Something. We have to figure something out. Something has to be done. So, it's funny. I talked to you, and then I promise I'll be done with this. Okay, guys. I get hyped up on a rant about this safety stuff, but I was talking to the guy from UCARA, in the UK, and his name's Frank, and he's like the head guy who runs the UCARA, the United Kingdom Airsoft Retailers Association. So you might hear a lot of UK guys say, "I got my UCARA." Well, it's the little registration card that says, they've registered and they're allowed to buy an airsoft gun that is not painted a crazy color, and that they played 3 games at an insured field, and it's an entire situation that connects the players, the retailers, and the fields. I think in America we're kind of afraid of registration of any kind when it comes to guns and registration, and I'm not saying what they're doing is the answer, but what they're doing is a great example of like
it's a step in the right direction.
It's a step in the right direction where they worked with lawmakers to create a situation where airsoft couldn't get demonized anymore. Like there's no more outright bans on airsoft. I mean, they still deal with like some guy walking into a store doing something stupid like here, but it's never looked at as like it's the airsoft community. It's airsoft as a whole. It's like, oh, this guy just had a toy gun, and that's where we need to get. So, okay, I'm not gonna beat it up. Done with that.
Rant over.
Slash rant.
Yeah. So, all right. So Dylan, you went to an op recently.
Yes.
Tell us a little about Operation Warlord. Was
Yes,
it? Yeah.
Operation Warlords. It was held in Ponchatoula, Louisiana. It's like 15 minutes away from my house at a local field, War Games. The field is about 5 to 6 acres, not very big. There's about 50-ish players that showed up. It was hosted by Bearded Milsim, fairly new, run by 2 guys, great guys. They put on a hell of a game. I didn't know what to expect. And the whole concept was warlords as in like drug lords, kind of. And so pretty much there was 2 teams, green versus tan. The green were the Canadians, and the tan were the Australians. So I was like, okay. So I was tan, so we're the Australians. So I'm like, okay. I thought it was funny. So
yeah, it's really very different.
I know I didn't understand it, but I was like, okay, sweet. So
where was this supposed to be set at?
I don't
know. Undisclosed location.
It was there was no like I didn't read the story plot. I just played. And they said when they were given the briefing, oh, you're Canadians, you're Australians. I'm like, okay, crikey, mate. So I was like, okay, I was perfectly fine with it. So the concept was, we have our tan warlord and there's a green warlord, and actually the 2 warlords, they were best friends, so it was kind of like a little competitive match against them. And so it was like 25-ish on each team, not very big, but 5 to 6 acres, so it worked out well. So pretty much at the start of the game, there's money hidden across the field, and the money is essentially bags of rice, so like they got a good bit of weight to them, and they're loaded across the field. Like I think they're about 20K each, and like on the part of the field, there's the black market, and throughout the game, this is also a 10-hour op, if I didn't say. Throughout the game, the black market opens and closes. And pretty much, so let's say I find a money bag, I bring it back, I need to bring it near my fob, which is essentially my base. I can't bring it in the fob, I bring it near it, and pretty much all the money that we collect when the black market opens, we have the opportunity or option to bring our money to the black market. We have to get there, and there's a safe zone. And pretty much that's when green and tan can congregate in that safe zone while the black market is open. And with that, we can buy, with however much money we have, we can buy airstrikes. There's a tank that someone had that we could use. We could buy more medics, like a bunch of different stuff that would help out our team. So that was pretty interesting. And when the black market closes, it's free game. So pretty much everybody starts shooting each other. And that was just pretty entertaining in itself. One time, like I was at the black market when it was open and just chilling while the warlord was getting stuff done, like purchasing stuff. And the green warlord was right next to me. I'm like, take out my axe. I just have it right next to him, waiting to hear the whistle for it to close. And the moment it closed, I'm like, haha. But guns just, everybody gets shot.
So it's just open. So it's like open season. As soon as the whistle blows, people start going
it was
crazy.
great.
Oh, that's
it was great.
Cool. That's kind of cool. It's kind of crazy, but kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a really interesting concept. But pretty much the way for you to win is you have the most money at the end, and so it's pretty much it's like, do I want to spend money to get this, or should I just save it? So it was interesting how that worked out, and there was also that, and there's buildings. And each building had a flag in it, kind of like Black Sheep did, like with the green tan flag system, pretty much. But this was just pulleys, like tan. So like we had the orange flag at the top for tan, and then the green for green team. So pretty much you make sure your flag is raised to control that building. And also
they give you any points to control or anything like that?
Yeah, pretty much you control a building because they did snapshots. Like Black Sheep, and pretty much whoever has whatever buildings at this snapshot, they get the points. Gotcha. And there was also during the game there was missions going on, like separate missions that was going on during the game. So you could either have the option to like, okay, should we defend these buildings, or should we just go for the mission, or split up how many people which way? So it's like a big chess game or something. So it was interesting. Like one of the missions, there was a box. And I talked to the owners, the guys that were running the game, and it was like a $600 box or something ridiculous. Like, pretty much, we had to find the combination. Oh, also, one of the things that you could buy at the black market was intel. So, like, let's say we need intel for this mission, but we can't figure it out. We can buy intel. Like a box, like there was like a combination that you had to do. It's not like a lock combination. It's like, okay, we need to put a metal in this thing, turn a knob this way, another. Like, it was just crazy. Like, this was a real thinking game. Like, I think one of the things was like put a CO2 cartridge in here to make contact with a metal or magnet or something, turn one click to the right on this knob, two to the left on this one, and pretty much to defuse it. And pretty much if you do the wrong combination, you blow up and everybody in your vicinity. So it was really interesting in the thinking games that they brought out for the teams. It was really interesting because I've never been to anything like this.
So kind of a different take on a different kind of mechanic for your standard Milsim game. Yeah,
it was really interesting. And also throughout the game, like a tan team, like we were at points in the game, we were starting to crush green to where it's like stupid. And the way the game, the makers, they were changing it up. They changed it up to where pretty much we were handicapped, so they made things easier for green and harder for us if we were just like doing really well to the point it's like, okay, this needs to change. Like they were manipulating things to where it was fair, and I liked it, but I hated it because I don't want to play a game where I'm slaughtering the other team and it's no fun.
Right.
So, and I wanted the other guys to have fun, so like I backed off at points, but when I did that, the game makers made it harder for us, so I was like, crap, I need to get back in the fight. So I really liked that compared to just leaving things as it was, and because if they left it like it was, that game would have been over. Like green people, so many green people would have left because it was just stupid.
Right.
So
airsofters are pretty bad tacticians.
Yeah. But yeah, not many people left the game. Total, the game was 10 hours and not many people left, so I was very happy about that.
No one got bogged down with the mechanics.
Yeah, some of them really hated that, but most people stayed in the fight. at one point there was an HVT that we needed to get intel from, but like the day or two before the game, I was talking to the game makers, and I was like, oh man, like we're gonna have some intention missions you're gonna love. I'm like, I need to ask one question: do I need to bring flex cuffs? Yes. Okay, that's all I need to know. So I brought like 8 flex cuffs. And,
Cuffs.
oh, they were great. So like, okay, there's an HVT that needs to be interrogated at the black market. I'm like, okay. So I'm walking because like I thought everybody was already there. So I'm the first one to get there. And I'm walking. I'm like, is he here? And I get closer and I see him. I'm like, oh, here we go. And that was just me. And I have kind of a like between me and the HVT. The HVT was actually one of the game makers, and I kind of like broke his pinky with my axe before.
Oh,
on accident.
Before, okay.
Kind of, yeah. So and at one of his other games, we had to interrogate him, and he's like great when it comes to interrogating because he does like he's really resilient. So yeah, it's so funny. So as I'm talking, I'm like, so what do we have here? It's like you and me, like just like a stereotypical movie moment, like just like do 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 do, and and the whole time I was like talking to him, trying to get information out of him. There was 2 green guys on the second story. I didn't check the second story, so they're like dying laughing, just listening to me just talk to him because like it was just so funny, like what they told me about it. So at one point he has his hands crossed, and I'm like, so like I see him, I'm like, and then I step out of the black market. I'm like, lift up your hands. He's like, I don't want to. So I start shooting between his legs, and it gets closer to his nuts. They're like, you're about to shoot me in the nuts. I'm like, I know, and I'll do it. Move your hands. He's like, okay. So he does that, and I tell him to get up, and he's very reluctant. And my other friend, Danny, he gets close. He comes in, and I'm trying to tell him to get up, and he has a history of like being interrogated and him hiding grenades. So that's why I'm very cautious. So I tell him to get up, and he's like, I'm like, tell me what I need to do. And tell me what I need to know. And he screams 5. And I'm like, 5 what? 5 what? And I just hear boom, boom. I'm like, oh,
5
gosh
grenades.
dang it. Yeah. And then they
Nice.
filled them with baby powder. And I was like, thanks.
Yeah.
No, but when he screamed 5, one of the guys dropped an extra grenade down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he had a grenade between his legs or something. I don't know. But no, it was really intense. Later, we got, since once we died, we went back, and then we were able to interrogate him again. One of my guys, like we were telling him to get up, like we had one flex cuff on his one hand, and when we were about to get the other, he ran off and grabbed my friend's pistol that was sitting down, and I was like, everybody's like, tackle him! And one of my guys from Mississippi, they brought their team down, Tombstone, and he tried tackling him, like I don't know, like slid and dislocated his shoulder.
Oh man, it sounds like you guys are doing too much, man.
I know, like
You guys are doing way too much out there.
I know, he dislocated his
Supposed to
shoulder.
be simulated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he dislocated his shoulder trying to tackle him,
Oh.
but then everybody else got on top of him. And, I think they were waterboarding him.
Oh.
I think from what I heard. He's really resilient. He does not want to give out information. That guy, he's awesome. But
Okay, guys. So what you've learned today is Op Warlord is probably very good, but Dylan and his buddies from Louisiana are far too intense. So be
They
wary.
will kill you.
They will kill you dead and dislocate your shoulder.
Oh,
Overall,
God.
Dylan, what did you think of the op?
It was amazing. For Bearded Milsim putting on for their first op, I had a really good time. They put on a fantastic show. I can't wait till they have another one. It was in South Louisiana. I'm pretty sure they're gonna say in this region. But hey, if you have a chance, go to one. You're guaranteed to have a blast. It's fast paced and a lot of crap can happen. Like it's going to be really intense, and expect a good time. And it was $25 if I didn't mention
Oh, yeah,
for a 10-hour op.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and there was 3 raffles throughout the day. BGA Airsoft gave away a Ares Tavor. Gunfighter gave away a pistol. Like there was a lot of stuff donated and given away, and most of the proceeds from from your game ticket went to Operation Homefront, which is like a non-profit organization for I think wounded veterans or something like that. And yeah, pretty much almost all the proceeds went to that.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah, so it was really nice, and overall I had a blast.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So Bearded Milsim, guys, I will get their information and have it in the comments there, so you guys can check it out. Not in the comments, in the description, so you guys can check it out. But that's good. I'm glad you had a good time, man. And that's the beauty of I think a small game. Sometimes you can have that crazy fun that you can't have at like a big game. You kind of gave me a question, and I want to ask both of you guys because I think you guys have a different perspective, being from the South and playing in a lot of different other. You've played with companies I've never played with. There's a debate going on right now, sort of. It's probably a made-up debate about point systems. You know, is the point system good? Is it bad? Do we just declare a winner? You know, John Liu has done it with some success, and then also some not success. It's like some people like the points are made up. Milsim West is like, screw the point system, and if you do points, go die in a fire. You know, and then Black Sheep, you know, he's well known for the point system. You know, and they've done it. From what I've been told, very reliably. So I don't know what's your opinion if you have one?
I know that at Operation Sovereign Fury, we kind of did a point system. It definitely wasn't made up. But, you know, then we run another event locally called America, and it's, you know, the idea is, what if the Nazis had won World War II?
Right. And
so now the Americans are kind of the rebels and stuff like that. And I don't believe we use a point system for that. You know, I don't know. You have to cater to your community. You know, guys want fragos, guys want missions. They you know, we got 81 buildings, or we got this many amount of buildings, right? What's the incentive to hold that building?
Right.
You know, so points in a way kind of infuse that realism. I know it doesn't seem that way, but you know, when you're in a war, you want this city because that gives you a tactical advantage because of airstrikes or this or that, whatever. Well, how do you necessarily portray that in an event when you only have, you know, 6, 8, 12, 24 hours?
Right.
So I get the point system, but at the end of the day, I'm not really concerned about the point system either. As a player, I don't care.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's never. I get it too, and it's nice to be able to quantify with how bad you kick someone's butt. You know, like that's my biggest thing. I love to read the points, and it says, "Oh, it's 3,200 points to 12." You know, like, oh, okay, they got owned. That's great.
It's funny, because I post a lot of this stuff to my personal Facebook page, and a lot of my coworkers, like I said, I got a new job over the last year. A lot of my coworkers had no idea what I did. And so when they saw that, they were like, "Oh, did you go play paintball?" I'm like, "No, it's Airsoft." And like, "Oh, okay. Well, who won?"
That's the Airsoft tone of voice.
Yeah. They're like, "Who won?" I'm like, "Who won what?" "Well, you said you played." "Yeah." "Well, you're on teams?" "Yeah." "Who won?" I don't know. I had a good time. I consider I won then. I mean, it wasn't like 110-5. I mean, it's not basketball.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. Like I said, it's cool to see the points and cool to see like people get demolished, but at the same time, I mean, how often do you really think? Like I cannot think back like, oh yeah, the points, this is the score. You know, all I think about how I came around the hallway with my pistol out, and I was like, caught him with his back turned. You know, that's right? Like those are like the shining moments for me. That's what I remember. You know. So okay. I
mean, my favorite moment from Viper Strike is, you know, diving headfirst into a ravine.
Oh geez.
And then I died. So
don't do that.
That was awesome.
For me, I feel the point system is really good in the fact that, like, because we're all playing a sport,
right.
I guess, which I guess we qualify as a sport, hopefully, to most people. And when you play a sport, you like to recognize of how much work you did and what it was worth. And so let's say like if I lost by this many points, what did I mess up? What can I do to make myself better? And like all that kind of stuff. And from both ends, losing and winning. Like,
Right.
how did we win? What did we do this? What should we work on? All that kind of stuff. And I think a point system is a really good way to mess up. What's the word I'm trying to say? Fix your mistakes.
Right.
Right. And if I won, sweet. How did we win? What caught us to win? And all that good stuff. And the point system, I think it is more accurate than just saying, okay, it looked like these guys won because they did more work, so we're going to give them it. And that's when all the controversy comes over. I don't think so because we did this and this happened. And like it's just really, with the point system, have an accurate number. Like for Black Sheep, like this building's worth this many points. Like this objective is worth this many points. And compared to just where it's like, okay, I think they did this, so I think they got this many points for that. You should have a set number of points for
Each
whatever.
objective, right.
Yeah, and just I just like it like that, where it's laid out on the floor, everybody knows what happened, and just it's black and white on the paper. So that's the way I think it should be.
All right. Merlin, at Sovereign Fury, you guys had something similar, right? It was the buildings were worth certain points. You guys monitored turnovers and recaptures and stuff like that, and did like kind of
not necessarily. It wasn't. I mean, we didn't have every building flagged or anything like that, but we did have certain targets on the top of buildings, and
that's right. You guys had the rockets and the
Right.
satellite dishes and stuff, right?
and they were all rigged for pseudo explosives. So every time a team set that off, the admin in the building would call down to the TOC, and the TOC would admin the points.
Right.
And there was definitely a lot of missions and stuff like that, but because we did have a lot of people ask, oh well, who won and this and that, and I was a little bit surprised. That was kind of the first time that I've ever been asked who won in a Milsim event. We've hosted other events like TAC Ops, which was in a building, and it was strictly 50 on 50 or 25 on 25.
That's the crazy game that MGP does or did. It's like this like the drop ceiling and guys are like running around like maniacs. Yeah, man, those videos are so freaking cool. Damn, you guys don't do that.
Ops. No, the building got remodeled, so we got kicked out of the building.
I'd love to see you guys do that again. That was one of those. That's another one of those great like YouTube, like shining YouTube video moments. The TAC Ops videos are awesome.
I mean, it was. I mean, I hate to call it speedball, but I mean, it was fast-paced action. You were in an 80,000 square foot building, and 80,000, I believe. But that was it, man. It was just long hallways, big cubicle offices and stuff like that. Second story, It was too bad, man, because we had this huge kind of like sci-fi airsoft event that we were going to do, that we were bringing over from our convention series, and it was all planned out and everything, dude. We had software programmed for it. It was going to be really cool, where tablets were going to be connected, and if you shut down certain tablets, it would affect the other tablets and stuff like that. But I really wish we can get back to that. If not, we need to find an office building somewhere in Orlando that's just 3 stories tall and completely abandoned.
Because that was awesome. I remember seeing those videos, and I was like, man, I would love to do a game like that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's before we go into the main topic here and talk about Viper Strike, we need to make the donuts here. Time to make the donuts. So, guys,
we're making donuts.
Yeah, exactly. By donuts, I mean loot. No, just kidding.
We're gonna get rich.
That's right. We're gonna get rich.
What do we determine as rich?
80 years. But yeah, guys. So this week in Airsoft, as always, brought to you by Audible.com. You can go to audibletrial.com/airsoft and go get a free audiobook and a 30-day subscription. You don't have to keep it, and when you get that, when you sign up for the subscription, it helps out the show. I'm a huge Audible fan. I love Audible. I've had it for probably since like the second year they existed. I think 2010, 2009. And I'm a huge sci-fi fan, zombie fan, and tactical military stuff. So all the Tom Clancy books, totally into that. Rainbow Six, all that stuff. I've done all that stuff from Audible, and I really should play you a snippet, but I'm not going to because I didn't queue one up today. But I have a video about that on our Facebook page. You guys should definitely check it out. But Audible's great. I highly encourage anybody who has a long commute or is listening to this podcast to go ahead and get the subscription. It's free, no hassle, and you're going to love it. You're going to be hooked. It's like crack cocaine, except it doesn't make your teeth fall out and stuff. So if that didn't sell you, then I don't know what will.
You don't look any older after reading it.
Exactly.
Or do you?
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe. Okay. So, Merlin, tell us about Operation Viper Strike. And actually, before you tell us about that, give us a little rundown on what you're doing. You're shifting gears from kind of the straight blog content to videos and stuff like that. So give us a little rundown.
Well, I'm shifting gears from not doing anything at all to trying to come back, bring the blog back. Basically, I got a new job, and I was relocated for a couple months, and I couldn't film or anything while I was there. About that time, my computer crashed, and just everything imaginable happened that would not allow me to post content. The website got hacked and all that stuff. So I'm coming back. I'm shifting gears as far as the YouTube channel goes. As soon as my website gets back up, I'll be blogging again, just the same quality of content written. I think that that's my strongest avenue. That'll be getting up, but with a lot more frequency. And then my YouTube channel is changing. I'm still going to be doing some reviews, but like I mentioned in my update video, reviews, it's kind of misleading, and I know there's been some hate toward Airsoft reviewers, aka celebrities, recently about just hawking their sponsors. If I get a gun and I can actually go out and play it and do what I need to do, I will post a review on the product.
Yeah, are you whistling?
No, I accidentally ended the call.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. You saw nothing.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
So basically with the videos, if I'm gonna be switching between if I can review a gun and actually play it and give my opinion, it'll be a review. If not, it'll basically just be product reviews. announcing, showing off new products as a preview. I'm going to start posting up more frequently, the news, once, weekly news, Milsim news, which have already started. And then I got a couple series coming out. Once I get them a little bit more solidified, I'll announce that. But I'm going to have 2 or 3 different series coming out that'll be pretty regular, and you'll get a couple seasons of that. So expect that coming from me. But, as usual, any of the action videos, I had a surprise plan for Viper Strike, but it landed in a tree, and so that's not so much of a surprise anymore. But yeah, maybe at Operation Freelander if that gets off the ground.
Okay, all right. Just so guys know, you've got some serious airsoft chops. You've been, your staff with MGP. Out of Florida, and you guys have hosted some big events, national events, and been doing it for a very long time, very successfully. Your blog's been going on for what? I don't know how long. Well
12?
Before This Week in Airsoft.
2011 or 2012.
Yeah, there you go. So, the site's not up anymore, but great content. I can definitely vouch for it. So,
and you can check it out. A lot of the older content, if you go to airsoft-squared.com, look up Merlin DKM. Some of my really older content is still on that site, but hopefully I'll get it all recovered and posted up here real soon.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, we look forward to checking that out, and guys, definitely go throw Merlin some love, and we'll update you as he comes out with stuff, because he's definitely a great addition to the whole media world in airsoft, and it's the kind of media stuff that we need. It's more news and more good, solid reviews and stuff like that. So Merlin, give us the rundown. Viper Strike,
All right.
RAPTAC.
RAPTAC. RAPTAC is an extension of sorts from Raptor 1 Milsim, which is a team from the East Coast. They've got a chapter in Maryland and a chapter in North Carolina, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
There's a Jacksonville in every state in the South, so it's pretty hard to know which state they're in exactly, but it's a Jacksonville. So there's two chapters, and that's the Raptor 1 Milsim team. They've got a couple guys that have put together RAPTAC, and that is basically their event organization. And this is not the event that they put on. I think it's been over a little bit of a year, but they had that Desert Splinter.
Yeah, Desert.
Splinter and Desert somewhere put together.
Yeah.
And they basically try to get you into an immersive. The idea everyone has of Milsim, but no one actually really participates in, if that makes sense. It was a true 24-hour event, and there was no walking off the field. You left the field for any reason, you were done. You didn't go and get your sleeping bag or your tent and set it up and sleep in the parking lot and then come back in. There was none of that. You left the field, you were done. So a couple things, it was supposed to be held at a field that they had frequented before, but the field foreclosed the week of the event. So with like 3 or 4 days notice, these guys scrambled and got us a great, in my opinion, I think it was a great AO. It was in a valley and on top of a mountain. And so the idea was you had U.S. forces, and they really, really did their, I shouldn't say homework, because these guys live and breathe the military. A lot of them are Marines, active and former.
Yeah.
So they know their stuff. So they set up units as PJs and Rangers and special forces. And there are specific requirements in order to be in those groups. And you don't just register. You have to basically apply for the position. You gotta have some sort of proof that when you show up, you're going to show up prepared as a quote unquote PJ. And that doesn't. And when I say you show up prepared as a PJ, it doesn't mean looking like a PJ. There's no look. It's not a fashion contest. It's you have the appropriate equipment to operate as a PJ. Somebody's got a stretcher or litter. Somebody's got the bandages and tourniquets and the actual, not necessarily all the medical equipment, but you're set up to carry it. So there, like I said, there's the U.S. forces, and then there's the Taliban, and then there was role players in between. And there's 3 villages spread out over the AO, and the objective was, especially for the Taliban, which is the force that I chose, is you had to try to sway the villagers over to your side. Now, being Taliban, of course, we're not trying to pay these people off. We're threatening them and executing them and all that stuff. So naturally, it didn't really work out well for us until we just, annihilated a village and captured it.
Wow.
But it was pretty gnarly. It was a true 24-hour event. I think it ended up being like 26 hours. But they had IEDs everywhere, tripwires, pressure plates. I mean, you would literally be walking along a trail, and next thing you know, the trail next to you, the woods next to you pop.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, literally, you step on one thing, and so and the PJs had an old World War II. I shouldn't say I don't know what era, but it was an older Jeep or older vehicle of some sort. It'll come up in the videos. That was kind of their extraction vehicle for medical, and so it was a common tactic where we would hit the EOD guys, let's say, that were walking down, or the Rangers. We would hit them with IEDs. 1 or 2 would go down. They'd have to set up a perimeter, wait for the PJs. And then we'd have it set up, knowing where the PJs would set up, that we'd have more IEDs waiting for them. So it's highly realistic. And the guys that were setting up on our team, the IEDs, were former Army EODs themselves.
So you guys were setting up these IEDs on the fly.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say us guys. The specific 2 guys that were tasked.
No, but they had guys attached to your squad who were
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How would these IEDs work? Like, briefly explain.
Not really, because I don't know.
Okay.
Some of them, they showed me some because they did actually have pyrotechnics, and those were more controlled by RAPTAC themselves.
Okay.
But these, IEDs that were set up for the non-theatrical moments.
Mm-hmm.
For more gameplay, there were like CO2, and they'd shoot up powder, and it kind of looked like a sterno or even like a dip can, and the top just had holes in it, and when you stepped on it, it would blow the CO2 or something, and it would just expel the baby powder or whatever, Fuller's Earth or whatever. So it was loud. They had pops, but they had sim sounds, and I don't know if they were speakers or they actually had like 50 cal.
Oh, dude, yeah, you have the Instagram video.
Yeah.
And in the Instagram video, they're just like going ham out there. It's like you just like it's the video, Dylan. If you haven't seen the video just tells the story. It's like he's videotaping, and all you hear is clack, 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 plop, 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 plop. It's like what?
Clack, 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 plop, plop, plop.
Well, not like that, but you know.
And the RAPTAC guys, the guys that have military experience, a lot. Some of the Raptor 1 guys had blank fire weapons.
Oh, right.
That's awesome.
So they were adding to the realism, and they had a A10 sound effect, and I don't know if it was a speaker, but I mean, and the reason why I love the AO is you see from that video, I was on top of the mountain. That was our fob. That was in play, where we were standing with all our tents and stuff. That was in play, but that was on top of a mountain. And so what you were hearing was down in the valley, and 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, you'd hear this, and it would just reverberate off all the other mountains, because this is in western North Carolina. It was amazing. So the sound effects, all that stuff. The Taliban, and I don't know if this was necessarily designed by purpose, but it was awesome. We all got together in the chat groups, and we decided to purchase like the native shirts, the real long shirts, long sleeves. They might have 2 buttons, no collar, and the shirt just goes all the way down to your knees. A lot of guys went out and did a lot into their kit. Myself, I didn't. No one carried plate carriers. It wasn't. No one was trying to be Gucci on the Taliban side necessarily. I had like stuff from World War II, just to a Y harness just to carry my mags. But what was great about that is we would go down into the valley. We could throw our stuff behind a tree, and they had ROEs not to shoot unarmed people because they couldn't tell if we were Taliban or if we were civilians.
I see those videos. The guys like walking around like out of like off their fob or whatever, and the soldiers are just like, oh my god, they're like.
And that's what we would do. We would probe the outside of the fob to see where they were at, or we'd walk through the village. I ran with the Stampede guys, Troy, Shelley, and Mario from Stampede Airsoft in Florida, and we got into the habit of sleeping next to the side of the road, like taking naps. We would just throw our gear, throw them in the woods, cover it up with leaves, and sit there. And we would watch EOD, PJs, all these U.S. forces just walk by us. They got used to us being there. So we just started letting them walk by, grabbing our stuff real quick, running down into the ditch, running parallel to the trail that they were using, and then hitting them on the crossroads further up the road. I mean, it was retarded. I mean, it was awesome.
That's great.
And they got smart. We tried to do an ambush on them, and these are the pictures of me getting captured. Me, Mario, and Troy got captured up by the fob, by the U.S. fob. They took our pictures. They literally, and they I guess they texted them to each other. So now they all had on their phones, oh, this guy is definitely a bad guy. So the minute if you see any sort of bulge or anything that might be misconstrued as a weapon, blow them away.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, there was a lot of pre-planning.
That's very realistic. That's awesome.
Do you feel like the whole vibe behind, Like we had them on before to talk to us about RAPTAC, and I know they have like their medic rules, and they have a lot of stuff that brings it up to a certain level of like realism. Do you feel like that made players play at another level? Like just like inherently guys kind of step their game up to be more realistic, more like to do like the little stuff like that you guys did, that just as little extra touches?
I think so, and I think if they continue with their momentum, they're going to get that same reputation as, okay, I need to be prepared to come to this. Or I look at what the Americans went through, the U.S. forces went through. I'm like, man, I'm glad I did Taliban, because that's a lot of preparation that I didn't. That's a lot of carrying. That's a lot of work. They were strict. They had 2-hour sleep rotations throughout the night. Me, I went and found a tree and I fell asleep for a couple hours. We just there was really
got it easy, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, but it was as much as you put into it. For the Taliban. The U.S., I don't think you really had a choice. You had squad leaders that were going to run you into the ground if they could. But
what were the numbers like
I don't know.
size-wise?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I know that there was 40. Supposedly there was 40 Taliban that was signed up. But I couldn't even tell you if there was that many, and it really didn't matter because the U.S. forces, we split up. I was with the same 3 people the entire time, and we didn't necessarily have comms on purpose, because if we got captured, they could listen in on a radio for an hour. Once you get captured, you get held for an hour. They bring you back to the fob. They can interrogate you. They can, there's rules about frisking and searching. Obviously, if you don't want to be touched, you say no. You just have to give every piece of intel. So you would have to give up your radio. They couldn't change the channel, but if the radio was on, they could listen to it. They couldn't turn it on either. So the key was always having, just turning your radio on long enough to talk, communicate, turn it back off. So definitely different mentality from running, your standard U.S. force kit. But like I said, the 4 of us, we went, first 3-4 hours, there was not a whole lot going on, fighting wise. I know the U.S. forces had their hands full trying to disarm our IEDs and stuff, but we were using that time to get all the intel, get into the villages, talk to the villagers. They had a whole group of role players in these villages, but it was great, man. It was fun. You actually gathered real world intel. When I was captured, I was actually listening into what they were saying, and they had no idea. And so I kind of gathered that they had certain forces over this village. Their plan was to do this in an hour. And so when they released us, hey, guess what? I have intel for the next hour and a half. So the realism, I mean, I hate speaking about realism. I didn't serve in the military. I was never deployed, so I couldn't tell you what's real and what's not.
Right.
But these guys were there. I can tell you that these guys took a lot of effort into pre-planning this. Obviously, things kind of got screwed up with the maps and stuff like that because the AO changed last minute, but they pulled it off. I mean, if anyone was going to pull it off, these guys were going to pull it off. So,
did they still do the? Did you experience the smells?
The smells?
Yeah, did they do that?
I don't know. I guess not.
When we had them on the show and they were telling us about Viper Strike, this is back in December or something, and it might have gotten messed up because the location changed, but they were going to do smells, like they were going to like set like a carcass on fire to get like that burning flesh smell and burning hair, and they were going to like pump that into the AO and have it all over the place to kind of give you that extreme like kind of like, oh my God, it's like those little olfactory touches where you're like, that take you to a place, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah. They might have done that for the U.S. forces.
Yeah, you might not have experienced it. It might have been something just aimed at the U.S. forces.
I mean, I can tell you the only complaint that I heard from some players was that the Taliban was neglected a little bit, but I personally didn't feel that way because, like I said, I didn't need what Taliban gets a Frago,
Yeah.
Their mission is to repeal, the infidel. It's not, okay, yeah, they have plans of attacks. We're going to attack this village and stuff like that. But we did that amongst ourselves. we had suicide vests, and one guy runs into a village and pulls a suicide vest, and guess what? It didn't work. Just like and it was funny as they were telling me, it was like, dude, we set this off at work 8 different times at work. The one time we needed to, it doesn't work. But I mean, that's pretty realistic. I mean, you see that in the news all the time. So, and we broke off into cells. And if we got captured, which we did, we couldn't tell you where the rest of the forces were because, hey, I've been sleeping underneath that tree for the last hour watching you.
Right.
And I think players, the responsibility falls on the players. You got to do a little bit of research on the organizer that you're going to go to. And we got to get away from this fanboy crap. All right. If you like the American Milsim way of running an event, great, go. I can't speak for it because I've never run one of their events. But from what I've heard and what I've seen, that's an event that I want to go to. I'm really flexible as a player. I can run that 24-hour event and go through, I don't know, maybe I may have only shot 10 mags of BBs. We're talking about 600 rounds max. Right. All right. But I had fun. I had a blast. It wasn't about slinging that BB downrange. It was about the experience. It was about the fun with my 3 great friends that I don't get to see unless I'm playing Airsoft. It was about diving off of a trail into a ravine into the water. That was fun. Just running down the hill, concealing, hiding, getting intel, ambushing. That was fun for me. It wasn't high speed. It wasn't. It was very thought out, very tactical, and you had to be very patient. But at the same time, I can go to a John Liu event who has blocks and breaks, and you go sleep in your hotel on Saturday night. That's absolutely fine with me too. But hey, if you don't like running the 24-hour event, don't go. Don't badmouth it. Let RAPTAC do what they're doing. Let John Liu, let AMS, MGP, let them do what they're doing. Milsim West, there's no reason to take sides. Right. I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
And I'm seeing a lot more of that lately. Oh, I'm pro organizer A and screw organizer B. There's room for everybody. And as a new player, I suggest making your opinion after you've gone to an event. Try as many different events. Hey, you know what? If you're not the most in shape person, then maybe a RAPTAC event is not for you. Or maybe running as an American at a RAPTAC event is not for you. Maybe running as a Taliban is better for you.
Dude, I would have loved to know that Taliban thing. Like every app I go to, I'm always like the green or the bad guys. I never run tan.
Right.
When I was supposed to go with Dylan to the Black Sheep game, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're running tan." I was like, "No!" I love to be like the filthy Russian or the dirty like Taliban fighter. Because it seems like the tactics just open up when you do that. You
what
know what
tactics?
I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You're less structured.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong. I still want to have my Gucci time. I still want to have my operator time, so there's that good trade-off, it does get a little bit hard because of the the different kits and stuff like that. But hey, my kit was like all of $8. I bought it. I literally bought all my World War II stuff at a garage sale, and it's literally World War II era Alice, clips on, stuff like that. And I butchered my plate carrier. I took a bunch of, M4 mags off of that and Molly rigged it onto the rig, and hey, it was great. I had my E-tool on the back, and, and it was great because, I didn't have a plate carrier and all, and I wasn't allowed to wear a helmet and all that. But, it made it much easier because, again, the Taliban kind of got shafted a little bit because our FOB was up on the top of a mountain, which in real life, that's where they are for the Taliban.
Yeah.
So that was realistic. But having that light gear made it easier for me to get up and down. It also made it easier that if I wanted to basically create a camp away from my fob and get close to the Americans, I can drop my stuff off behind any tree, cover it, and run in, do what I need to do, look like a farmer. The only thing we didn't have was cowbells, and I'm going to remedy that next time, because that says something when you hear that coming down the trail.
Yeah, right.
That adds to the realism. But and then when you saw something, you were able to react, run, get your gear, go, hit it. These U.S. guys running around plate carriers, man, I almost felt bad for them.
Almost.
Yeah, no, I like that, and that sounds like an awesome op. I got to get to a RAPTAC event.
Yeah,
and,
that sounds really freaking awesome.
Yeah, they've got another one planned. I don't have a whole lot of details. I only have one bit of information. I'm not going to give it out because I don't know that they're ready, but actually might be a little bit closer to you, James. But as soon as I get that information, I'm sure they'll let you know. And obviously I'll be covering that whenever I can. The AAR, the written AAR for Viper Strike, and the video. Unfortunately, I didn't get a whole lot of video. I might as well talk about it because I'm going to release the blooper. But I do have I had a surprise, which I mentioned in my news bulletin, and unfortunately, the change of AO kind of messed that up because the other AO was a little bit more open, had open space. So, some aerial footage would have been cool. So this new place, lots of trees. We have an Inspire drone from DJI. Yeah. Not me personally, but I have access to one.
Freaking Taliban.
Well, no. This wasn't an op thing. This was more of a news coverage, eye in the sky, as you would.
Oh, okay.
So it was covering. It was just above the initial attack, the initial opening, which you can go to some other videos and watch the initial opening of Viper Strike.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they set off pyrotechnics with radio charges. The radio interfered with the GPS and the Wi-Fi of the Inspire, and it went into a tree. Blew 2 holes. So so that wasn't the pilot's fault. It's actually an air. DJI is, they called DJI to figure out what was going on, and so that's a whole process. They're looking into that. They're trying to go over the flight, the black box, if you will. So that sucked because that lasted all of 2 minutes and in a 24-hour event. So not a whole lot of aerial footage. And on top of that, the contours kind of crapped out on me. So that's a whole nother thing I'm gonna have to readdress. But but we did get some third-party footage or third-party angles, as you would. So
I'll post your grenade kill video.
Yeah, that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, and I'll put a link to the that Instagram photo because that Instagram video is just cool, man. It kind of sums up. I feel like it sums up Viper Strike in one insane loud.
It's what it was, and that's moments, and that's kind of what ticks me off because I had hit record earlier, and then I dove down the ravine, and you can't really see it, but I'm actually sitting in water. There's a creek that I'm sitting in, and my shemagh actually came off. It got caught up in a tree. So the special forces guys that were on the trail were actually shooting at my shemagh. And so they were attacking my shemagh, and I'm way down in the creek, and I'm waiting. I had an opening that if they had come closer, I would have at least hit the first guy. So I'm sitting there waiting, and I guess they realized that one of them saw me, and all I could do was put my head down. And they're shooting, and they're shooting, and they're shooting. This is going on for a couple minutes. Then all of a sudden I hear a thud, and it just rolls down perfectly. And the video doesn't do enough justice to it, but it was just this sinking feeling of, yeah, they got me. I mean, I might as well call hit now. I see it roll down, and I'm thinking to myself, this thing is going to roll into the ravine with me and blow up. And I'm like, oh, God. So.
That should be good. All right, we'll put that up so guys can check it out.
Yeah, but the AAR video and the AAR after action review video and review will be up in the next day or two.
Okay. All right. Cool. And we'll link that. We'll link that up, guys. When we get everything up, we'll link that to this video, and also we'll share it on our page. So definitely check it out, guys. All right. Well, Merlin, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. And
it's been awesome, man. I enjoy coming on every time.
yeah, we love having you on, man. You always have a lot of great stuff to say, and you're an old hand when it comes to this airsoft media thing, and it's a pleasure to have you come on and talk to us. Dylan, it's always a pleasure to have you on, my friend.
I love the sarcasm.
No, but Dylan. I think Dylan's shaping up to be our impromptu co-host every now and then. So we'll have to have him on more. Guys, just a little quick news for the show. We're again, I'm redoing the website, so we'll see how that works out. If I didn't say that already, did I say that already? I don't think.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you can't say it enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're redoing the website, so that'll be hopefully up Wednesday, I think, in a shabby kind of halfway done way. So you guys will be able to take a look at that with a little bit of content on it. But we're going to do a lot more. Jonathan is going to do a lot more articles and stuff for us, and we'll be doing some maybe two. We'll do some more videos and stuff during the week. So we'll look forward to you guys checking that out, and we look forward to the content from Merlin. And also next week or the week after that, we'll have the guys from RAPTAC on to talk about Viper Strike as well. I'm just waiting for them to get it's several of them, and they need to like kind of link up schedules and then link up with us. So once that happens, we'll have them on to talk about it because they're doing really exciting things in the airsoft community as far as the gameplay. And it's great to see. It's great to have someone like Merlin come back and say, "Oh, this is what's happening," and you see that the level is like really getting stepped up. So,
yeah, absolutely, man. It's a whole nother bar.
Yeah, and that's great because it's like you go to your first John Liu game and you're like, this is amazing. This isn't backyard Nerf anymore. Then you then you go to you go to American Milsim or you go to MGP and you're like, whoa. Then you go to like Milsim West, you're like, what's happening? They're shooting guns in here. And then you go to a RAPTAC event and they're like, yeah, okay, you got to put so many compressions into, I mean, because it's great to see that people take it to that level. And I feel like the more you kind of like, the more you go real, the more realism you add into it, the more narrow you kind of, and there's nothing wrong with guys who play the casual airsoft. There's nothing wrong with those guys. But I feel like those guys won't be attracted to a game like a RAPTAC game. So what you get when you go to a RAPTAC event is like a really high level of player. I don't know if that's fair to say. I'm not saying that other guys aren't high level or they suck or anything. I'm just saying that it's
dedicated.
A more dedicated guy. Yeah, someone who's going to be like, yeah, let's set IEDs here. Let's play an ambush. Let's let's go out and get the right kind of PJ gear. Let's buy a litter. It's like, yeah, you get a more dedicated player, which is I think makes the game better overall. And it gives us all something to strive for. So
yeah, but that's not to retract from the other guys either.
No, it's not. It's not at all. It's not. Trust me. Like the game that Dylan talked to us about, Operation Warlords. That's the type of some of my favorite airsoft is that
Absolutely.
Type of airsoft.
Like I said before, I still want to run this sci-fi event that I had planned and written and everything, and that's totally the other aspect of the other side of the coin from Milsim,
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, John Liu at the game we went to, was it last year? Yeah, last year. Was that last year? Oh my God, wow. Okay, well, in Ohio with Jonathan, he was there, and they had a zombie game at night, and guys were so pissed. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
I loved every minute of it. It was great. Sorry, I mean to blow you guys' eardrums out, but I mean it was awesome, man. I had so much fun. I'd never done a zombie game before, and I was like, this is great. And that was their night game. They were like, no one ever comes, and Greg Brothers like, no one ever comes to night game, so we're not going to do a traditional night game. We're going to do something fun and easy going that everybody can enjoy, and it was truly something everybody can enjoy. So there's nothing wrong with like all the various levels of airsoft. But, I think there's something good about guys really pushing it, you know what I mean? And that's great for the sport overall. Okay, so Merlin, give us all your information, man. Give us your home phone number and your wife's maiden name, and give it all to us. Where can we find out more about you?
Well, as far as the Merlin aspect, who's single, not married, and doesn't live anywhere.
Oh, there we go.
My YouTube is youtube.com/MerlinDKM. So definitely check me out on YouTube. Instagram, we got Instagram going. Kind of new to it. That is just look up Merlin's Blogspot on Instagram. Obviously, we got Facebook.com/Merlin's Blogspot, I believe it is. But yeah, man, just Google us. I think we're just on about every aspect: Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Reddit, Dig It, you name it. I've probably been there at one point, set up an account, and forgot the password. So, but yeah, guys, I mean, seriously, if you guys want this stuff to continue, please, guys, like, share. That's the big thing, guys. Facebook is nerfing a lot of your airsoft stuff. And if you don't interact with it, if you don't like it, you don't share it, you don't go to This Week in Airsoft, you don't share their stuff. It's not enough just to listen to the podcast. It's not enough just to watch the videos. You guys got to help us continue this. We got day jobs, and in order for this to continue, and that's for just about everyone in true media, we need you guys to share, like, subscribe, follow. If there's a button, please hit it. Unless it's a report button, that's a little flag. You don't need to hit that. Yeah, but every other button, guys, please help us out. Like I said, we don't get paid for this. A lot of us don't get a whole lot of free stuff.
Think of them like the big red button.
Right.
That's right. That's right. And Dylan's got a cocaine habit to support. So
yeah, I know.
We got to keep it. We got to keep him.
You're not supposed to tell them that.
It's actually a Mountain Dew habit, and
there we go.
He's got to support it. So, yeah, definitely, guys. Just to reiterate what Merlin said, it's 100% true. We're at this level, we're just trying to deliver you guys the good content, and we're doing it on a shoestring budget. So, it's absolutely 100% like, subscribe, all that stuff. thisweekinairsoft.com. That's not what I want to say. I want to say audibletrial.com/airsoft. 30-day trial, free audiobook. Please go and get an audiobook. Please do it now. I need
and that's like a $20-something value.
Oh, dude, absolutely, man. A freaking American Sniper, I think, is like $25 on Audible if you went to go buy the book. So, you go get any book you want, it's free, and then you cancel it if you want, and it's all good. You know what I mean? But you're not going to want to cancel it. You're going to become totally addicted like me because it's awesome. I mean, you can't forget about it. You cannot beat like Audible. It's awesome. So, all right, guys, I'm not going to hold you fellas up anymore. I appreciate you coming on. This episode should be up in, it doesn't matter because you're listening to it, so it's up. I don't know why I started to say that. That's me rambling again. All right, guys, I'm James with This Week in Airsoft, and for Merlin from Merlin's Blogspot and our buddy Dylan, we are out.
Later.
See you guys.